Can you believe we finally made it to the start of the NFL regular season? And that means it's time to start getting those picks ready for the NFL handicapping contest. This is the NFL Contest Show, and I'm your host, Jesse Flynn. I'll be coming to you each week with my 5 selections for the Circa Millions to see if I can't bring home that first place $1 million prize and maybe help you put a little bit of money in your pocket too. So week 1 of the NFL season is officially here, and that means it's time to go through and pick out the 5 games that I like for this upcoming week. The first game that I really like is the San Francisco 49ers minus 7.5 going across the country to take on the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions are just in rebuild mode. They gave their new head coach an extended contract because they know that this team is not very good right now, even though they've brought in some big-name free agents. Jared Goff is just not a very reliable quarterback. We've seen it with his time in L.A., that he can be flustered very easily if the pressure can get to him in the pocket. And what does the San Francisco 49ers have? One of the best front sevens in the NFL. I think they're going to be getting after this Detroit Lions offense all day. And then you've got Kyle Shanahan on the other side of the ball who can scheme up one of the most devastating offenses you can think of, going up against a defense that just doesn't have very many skill position players worth mentioning. So I just see San Francisco going into Detroit and really laying it down and showing the rest of the NFL that they're here and they're for real. And that includes Jimmy Garoppolo. There's been all this talk all offseason about which quarterback should be starting. Should it be Jimmy Garoppolo? Should it be Trey Lance? I think that's going to put a chip on Jimmy Garoppolo's shoulder, and he's going to go out there and he's going to perform at the level that we've seen him perform in the past when he took the 49ers to the Super Bowl, and show the rest of the NFL that even if his future isn't in San Francisco, that he will be a valuable asset to other teams. So let me take the San Francisco 49ers minus 7.5 as my first pick. Up next, the second game that I really like is the Denver Broncos minus 3 going across the country to take on the New York Giants. I really like this Broncos defense. I think Vic Fangio is going to have them fired up. They've got Nick Chubb back. They've got Von Miller healthy. The secondary is lights out, and they're going up against Daniel Jones, hit-or-miss quarterback, with a running back in Saquon Barkley, who's just coming off that devastating knee injury, and he's going to need time to really get back into game mode. And their offensive weapons, I think one of their wide receivers has a hamstring injury. They just haven't been able to practice all preseason, and I believe it's going to show against this elite Broncos defense. On the other side of the ball, we've got Teddy Bridgewater taking the starting quarterback reps for the Denver Broncos offense. I really like that, as he was ATM last year for when he played for the Carolina Panthers when it came to covering the spread. Now, they're going up against a Giants defense, which is much improved, and I think Joe Judge will have them playing okay. But I just don't think that the Giants' offense is going to be able to put up the kind of points they will need to win this game. And so I'm going to be taking the Broncos minus 3 as my second pick. My third pick is the Miami Dolphins plus 3.5 taking on the New England Patriots in New England. This is the Tua Tagovailoa versus Mac Jones Bowl. Two former Alabama star quarterbacks taking on each other. We've got Brian Flores, the former part of Bill Belichick's coaching staff, now going up against his former mentor. I just like all the storylines here. But I just think that Tua Tagovailoa, even though I don't think he's a great quarterback, his second year in this offense and the security that he has with, Brian Flores coming out and, saying that he is our starting quarterback is going to help his confidence. I think he understands that he didn't take it very seriously last year, and they've surrounded him with offensive playmakers that should make it easier for him than what he had last year. Now, yes, New England is returning a lot of their former key players that did not participate last year because of the COVID issue, and now they've got those players back, but they're also missing some key players on defense for contract reasons, and they're also starting a rookie quarterback in his week 1 of the NFL season. Now, I'm sure that Mac Jones has shown signs that he's going to be a good quarterback in the future. Bill Belichick's one of the best talent evaluators we have in the NFL. But I just can't take a quarterback starting his first game in the NFL, season and lay points with him, even though it's at home. I just think 3.5 is too much to be given this Miami team. They're going to be, in their games all season long. And I just like the way it sets up for Miami. So I'm going to be taking the Miami Dolphins plus 3.5 for my third pick. Now, my fourth pick is one of those ones that's, you just got to put it in, forget about it, don't watch the game, and just hope that the score turns out in your favor at the end. And that's the Houston Texans at home getting 3.5 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, all offseason, we've heard about Urban Meyer and, Trevor Lawrence and what's going to be taking place in Jacksonville versus in Houston. It's been all the controversy surrounding Deshaun Watson and what's been going on with him outside of football. Well, meanwhile, Jacksonville has not really shown that they're going to be a competitive team this year, and yet they're the favorite on the road against Houston, who actually has an established quarterback in Tyrod Taylor and a very good stable of running backs to complement the offensive line that they had put in place for Deshaun Watson before he was forced to not be able to play because of the issues that he's had off the field. Now, Houston doesn't have a very good defense, but they do have some returning starters that should be able to keep this Jacksonville offense from running up the score on them. And Tyrod Taylor's shown that he is a serviceable quarterback and he will not make bad decisions with the football, which is key, because that's one thing I think Trevor Lawrence may do when he sees some of these exotic defenses in his first game of the year. So once again, a rookie quarterback making his first start in the NFL, week 1 of the NFL season, is just not something I want to be laying points with when they're on the road. So give me the Houston Texans plus the 3.5. I'm just going to put it in and not watch the game. I'll probably watch the game, but not really try to pay too much attention to it and just hope that this one works out in my favor. Now, my fifth and final pick is one that I like, but it's number 5 for a reason, and that's the Los Angeles Chargers plus 1 taking on the Washington football team in Washington. I am just a Justin Herbert believer. I think this kid's got a bright future in the NFL. They've got great weapons around him in LA. The defense with the guys that they're getting back from injury from last year, like Derwin James, and the established players that they have on defense, like Bosa, I think are really going to make a difference this year. They've got a brand new coaching staff, so they can, wipe the slate clean of what happened last year with some of the time management issues they had and the one-score losses that they had last year. They can start fresh. They've got a young nucleus of, good players, and I just think they're going to really shock a lot of people this year. I see them making the wild card. I don't think they'll win the division since they have Kansas City. Now, the Washington football team, they are a good defense. Offensively, they've got some weapons on offense, but I just don't trust Fitzmagic to continue to pull off this abracadabra, hocus pocus magic show too much longer the older he gets. We've seen it in the past where he's had, some weapons around him and he's been able to produce, but in the end, he's not really a winning quarterback. And I just don't think that he's going to be able to propel this offense to score enough points to outscore what the Chargers will be able to put up against this Washington defense. Now, I do like Chase Young. I like Montez Sweat. I like what they're doing in Washington. I just think that the Chargers are a better team. And even though it's going from California over to Washington, I don't put much stock in home field advantage except for a few stadiums, and that's normally only in the later months of the season, as well as traveling from the West Coast to the East Coast or vice versa. I mean, these guys have been doing this stuff since they were in college. It's not that big of a deal to travel from one side of the country to the other and be ready to play. So I don't factor that in. I just looking at the two teams, and I think the Los Angeles Chargers are the better team in this matchup. And since they're actually getting a point, I'm going to take them to just win the game. So give me the Los Angeles Chargers +1 against the Washington football team. So there you have it. Those are my 5 picks for week 1 of the Circa Millions NFL handicapping contest. Be sure to check in at deadmoneymedia.com to see that these picks are the official picks that I submit, because I'm recording this on Thursday when the lines first come out. But obviously with COVID protocol, things of that nature, something could change between now and then. And I am located in Las Vegas, so I do have the option of waiting until Saturday afternoon to submit my picks, where some people who are in these Las Vegas contests are using a proxy service because they live out of state and are therefore required to put their picks in earlier. But if you're in another jurisdiction, you're in another contest, and you can wait until Saturday, I would say do that because, once again, we don't know what's going to happen with the COVID protocol from week to week, and your best bet is just to take advantage of the option that you can, which is wait until the last minute to get your picks in. But beyond that, I hope everybody has a great season. I hope you enjoy this show. If you do, hit that like and subscribe button. Check out the website at deadmoneymedia.com. I hope everyone makes a lot of money this year. I hope we can bring home the first place prize in the Circa Millions. Be safe out there and enjoy this NFL season. Thanks a lot.